So installation is done, and maven version is also cross-checked, and we have seen a similar kind of output. So now it's time for us to create our first project in maven. So you need somewhere for your project to reside, so we have to create a repository, uh, some way to create a directory somewhere and start a shell in that directory to to write or to create a first project using maven. So on your on our command line we can execute the following a big command. So so once we execute that command, and we'll see what magic is going to happen. So this command consists of information about archetype. So maven, we are asking maven to generate something, and then group id we are going to give group artifact id, group artifact id. And if you remember, the target name would be group artifact, the target artifact name would be group id colon artifact id colon version. So here is the version. So this is archetype version. Okay. And directive mode we set up to the false. So let's go to our, and let's write our command. So mvn, so archetype equals to generate. Then I take capital D, group id is com dot imlike dot app. Then I take the artifact id. So artifact id, that's equals to maven. We'll put for artifact id I'll give Charan app. Then once artifact id is done, so then we say the archetype artifact id. The another command that we gonna give is, so we will give the archetype. Okay, the archetype artifact id. So artifact id, that's equals to maven archetype. So I would say this is a quick start or first project, whichever the way you want, you can write. Then the archetype, so version I'll give 1.4, the fourth version 1.4. And then finally the interactive mode, I'll put it false. Interactive mode equals to false. So let's cross check it once. Maven archetype generate group id com.imlike.app the artifact Charan app. Yeah, I hope everything is fine. So let me create our first project, and what is going to happen, that we will see as an output. So we have executed build failure. So okay, the goal you specified requires a project to execute, but there is no POM in this directory. So please verify you invoked maven from current directory. Okay, so let me go to home Ubuntu. So here I will execute the same command. So error, please verify your invoked maven for the correct directory. So let me give history, and I would copy the same and I'll paste it here. Okay, so org dot, so it brought and the build was success. So let me re-execute this with the slide modifications. Okay, or else I'll clear the screen, and I'll create a folder cd first build, first builder, first project. Okay, mkdir first maven project. So cd first maven project, and now let me execute the above command with a bit of modification. 1.4 is fine, quick start is fine, and artifact id is okay. This I'll make it to my app, that's Charan app, because I'm creating this. If it is yours, you create, and my company is imlaik imlaik.com, imlaik. Then rest all is okay. So let me execute now. So now we're gonna see what's happening. So scanning for projects. So building maven stub project, it does not have any form. So the purpose, okay, let's go through this one by one. Yeah, default CLI it has taken, it has brought all the dependencies from the respective repository. So then project in batch mode, so you can see that quick archetype, the project type is maven archetype quick start, and then you can see the information about us. So group id, it's com.mlag.app, and artifact id charan app, and version 1.4 snapshot package is again com.mlag.com, and some other information. So, and this is where the archetype in directory. So finally our build got success. This is our first project, and the first project uh, we have seen the success with one negative point. So you can see that your build is success, and within 6.868 seconds, that you can clearly see. So but one point I would like to make here is, so as we have seen the first build, okay, so now here we have just installed maven, and we have run the first project. So then after running the first project, we can notice that the generate goal, if you see the code again, else you see here the goal is generate, the generate goal created a directory with the same name given as the artifact id. So let's change into the directory. So let me check. See, same name as artifact id, that is charan app, and this is also charan app. So let's get into that. So we have got into that. So now after got into that, so now we have to check the directory one by one, and we have to compare the directory with the this one. So let me reduce the size, and So this is the repository format, normally uh, Java project repository format. So on the main high level, on the high level we will have pom.xml, and as in nested levels you can find this src. So src and pom.xml would be in same level, whereas other files will be in a little bit down level. They're all nested into the source directory. So let's see, the project, normal Java project should be consists of this kind of directory. Now let's get into our project and see what's the status. Okay, let me clear the screen first. So then let me get into where I am, ls. So you can see that. So in this directory, so let me get back step, and I'll say ls. You see Charan app. This when we have run that above commands, and it has created this directory. So now let me get into that directory. So ls, you see, it consists of a pom.xml as well as src. So this src consists of, you see, both are in same level, higher level, pom.xml and src, and this is Charan app. In the Charan app directory, pom.xml and src are in top level. Okay, so then from there we will enter into the src. So ls cd src. You can see it consists of a main and test. You can see here main and test. Main is here, test is here. So let's look into the main first, and then we will cross check the test. So cd main and ls, you see Java. So here also we have Java. Then let me get into the Java and say ls. You got the com here, and cd com. We got the imlike, that's the company name, imlike. Then imlike, okay. So it consists of an app, the nested directory, then cd app. So finally you should see your sample app.java. So let me clear the screen and do cat app. You see that this is just says a sample, it just says hello world. So when you run this application is gonna print hello world. So that's what. So in src, if you go to main, you will find your app.java, the main application. And similarly, ls, see, we came back. So now let me get into src again, src. So in this we have seen the main. So main consists of a app.java, whereas test we haven't seen. Let's get into a test and see the directory structure and how does it look like. So it consists of Java, yes, it's correct. Then it should consist of com cd Java, and then cd, it's com ls. So imlike, that's the company name inside the com. So now let me enter into the imlike, cd imlike. Then inside that we have app. So let me go inside the app also. So then finally you have app test.java. So let me clear the screen and then check what it consists of. That is app.test.java, app test.java. So then I'll do cat, and this is what regress test. So this, if you run this test file, it's gonna test the following conditions. So regress test assert time. Okay, so that's how you can run your first project using some imperative commands. In spite of declarative imperative commands you use, and you can create your first project and you can showcase the project also. Let's look into the pom.xml file that has been generated when we were creating our first project. So the pom.xml file is the core of a project's configuration in Maven. It's a single configuration file that contains the majority of information required to build a project in just the way you want. The POM is huge and can be daunting in its complexity, but it is not necessary to understand all of the intricacies just to use it effectively. So the project's POM is what it looks like this. So let me get into that our instance and we'll see how does it look like. Okay, we are in let me give pwd. You see, if you remember home ubuntu charan app, so this is what we have created. This is project repository or directory that we have created in our last slide, our last session. So let me give ls. You can find pom.xml here. So now let me say vim pom.xml. You see that by and large it looks like same as I'll take to the slide. You see, same. So it begins with XML version. This is XML tag. So these are at least XML tag and then the project initiation tag. So these initial two tags are predefined, and rest all this schema, this is called schema. This schema will be taken from their Apache Maven Apache website. You see that this is encoding UTF-8 version. This is predefined, and XML version is 1.0. But the project that we brought from this URL, http maven.apache.org and POM, that's project object model version 4.00, and XMLNS XSE. So here the schema, XML schema for this kind of Maven projects, you can find it from here. So the W3 confederation so they have defined the schema. Okay, so and here you can see more exact schema location. This is predefined tags which are gives the information about the schema that we are using and all other information. Whereas after that it starts model version. Model version is 4.0.0. Then group ID, these are all we gave it. So com.mlike.app, artifact ID charan app, and version 1.0 snapshot. So name charan app, and from here it starts. This is example URL. So the properties, let's look into the properties first. So it consists of a properties, dependencies, and all other information that we have mentioned in our first slide regarding you see here artifact ID maven clean plugin. So it brings maven clean plugin. So then default lifecycle has begun. See, this is how you comment a section inside our XML file, or less than symbol and exclamation mark and hyphen. So the default lifecycle. So we are beginning the default life cycle. For that you require Maven resources plugin, then Maven compiler plugin, then Maven Surefire plugin, jar plugin, deploy plugin. So all will be done. So all will be done. Then once a default life cycle is done, then it goes for the site life cycle. And site life cycle, if you want to see more, you can find from here. So that's the URL. If you want to explore more about the site life cycle, you can get from here. So site life cycle has begun. For site life cycle, what all you require? So maven site plugin, maven project info. So these are the life cycles that we have mentioned. One, we have everything, so you can build your package now. Anyway, let's not do this now. So let's get into our slide once and we'll see what all we can explore and learn from our slide. What what I just did in our previous slide is, let me get back to here. So here I executed the maven goal. What is my maven goal? MVN archetype generate. That's my generate is my maven goal, and passed in various parameters to that goal. What all the parameters I have passed? The the prefix the prefix archetype in the plugin that provides the goal. So if you are familiar with ant, you may conceive of this is as similar to a task in Ansible. So this archetype generate goal created a simple project based upon maven archetype quick start archetype. So suffice it to say for now that a plugin is a collection of goals. A plugin is a collection of goals with a general common purpose. For example, the JBoss Maven plugin, that is one plugin. JBoss Maven plugin. So whose purpose is to deal with various JBoss items. Okay. So now let's look into the build project. So we have everything with us to build our first project. We have created our first project using goal, generate goal. When you generate, it will generate a project. Then with the generated POM, we are going to build our first project. Okay. For that, the command that we are going to use is mvn package. So the command line will print out various actions and uh, and it will end that with various responses after entering this command. Okay, what all those responses, what all actions takes place, what all orders will be executed by the maven, that we will see. Whatever that you have mentioned in the POM file, that all will be executed by the maven, that we will see in EC2 instance. Okay, so here this is what the response you will get normally. So the command line will print out various actions, and the response would be like this. If you get the build success at the end, that means you are absolutely there is no issue in your pom.xml file, so it's correct. You may test the newly compiled and packaged jar with the following command. Also, if you want to test the compilation, how it's working, that also will do. Practically we will demonstrate maven package as well as test also. Okay, that will do. And finally it should print this, because that's what the example we are taking. If you go and check the test app that we have done it in our previous slide, previous session, if you go and look into that, you would see the hello world print, the java.app. You will find java.app that should print hello world. Okay, so if it is able to print hello world, if your package able to print hello world, that means your compilation is absolutely fine, no issue. You can go ahead with deployment. You can go ahead into staging server, testing server, and finally production server. So but before we go there, one subtle difference I just want to address here. One subtle difference I want to make here regarding the command which we have executed in our last video, that is archetype generate, and the second is simply a single word package. So rather than a goal, the package is a phase. A phase is a step in the build life cycle, which is an ordered sequence of phases. When a phase is given, maven executes every phase in the sequence up to and including the one defined. For example, if you execute the compile phase, the phase that actually get executed are, see, this is what one build cycle, you will take it as a one build cycle. So the complete build cycle, if you look into this build cycle, it consists of various phases: validate, compile, test, package, integration, verify, install, deploy. Okay, so now the difference between archetype, generate, and then giving a just a single word package. So archetype generate is a goal, whereas package is a phase of a build life cycle. You see that package is a just phase of it. So now what happens when you execute a phase using maven package? What happens is it's gonna build. When a phase is given, maven executes every phase in the sequence up to and including the one that is defined. So for example, if you take one example, if you execute the compile phase, the phases that actually get executed are, the first one is validate, then in between you will have a generate sources, process sources, generate resources, process resources, and finally it will execute a compile. And we'll take one more example. So you want to execute a package that we are going to do in our next practical demonstration of maven. So if you want to execute validate, so what's the flow? So it execute sorry, if you want to execute a package, what's the flow? It executes validate first, then it will execute compile, then it will execute test, then after that a package will be executed. So like that, when you execute a package, when you call a package, so all files, all phases till up until that package, that phase will be executed. So you may test the, and after that, once it's executed, you can do the testing also, that we have discussed in our previous slide. Okay, so this testing. So let's get into the practical demonstration. Enough of discussing theory. So let me clear the screen. So do I clear the screen? CD home Ubuntu ls cd Charan app ls. Okay, we got the pom.xml here. lsl, yeah, pom.xml here. If you want to just confirm the app file, cd src, and then so here this is test, this for the test, and this is the main. So let's go into the main and we'll see main, and then java com imlike app, and here, oh that's okay, and here you see app.java. Let me do cat app.java. You see that it's hello world, it's gonna print hello world. You see that it should be printed hello world. And similarly, let's get into home Ubuntu Charan app, then test src, then test java com imlike app, then ls. You got the app test.java. So let me do the cat app test.java. You see that this is for, this file is used for testing, and which plugin we are using? JUnit. So the test file, the test case has been written, but you need to bring JUnit to test our package using the test file. So your app, Java app is also there, and a test file to test the Java app is also written. What you need is a plugin to bring. Okay, so now let me get back to home and then Ubuntu and Cheren, and here is my pom.xml. So now let's begin our action. So it's time to say mvn package. So I'm creating our first package. Let's see what's gonna happen. I'm clicking yes. So it's building, scanning for projects. Till now no issue. Snapdot, the version is mentioned, and then whatever steps that we have mentioned in the pom.xml all being executed sequentially. Every activity, every task that we have mentioned in the pom.xml is being executed. You can find that on your screen. So then a compiler has come into the picture. You can see that the green one. So the compiler has come into the picture. Then it's going to compile our java.app. So once the compilation is done, now it's gonna move into the next phase. That's, you can see that maven resources, in between that maven resources. So let me go through this one more time once it is done, because now it's scrolling too fast. Okay, test. Now we move to test. After the compilation we move to test. So here it's going to use JUnit for this testing. So testing is done, and finally building your package. So the building jar, it's placed in /home ubuntu cheren app. Inside that it has created target directory. Inside the target directory, it's placed the package name as this. The package name consists of an artifact ID and version, and then .jar extension. So how much time it took? Total 55.83 seconds, and finished that this time. So let's scroll up and we'll check what all steps, what all phases it has crossed to do all those things. Okay, let's scroll up a bit till our command comes. Yeah, it's lot. It's huge. It has done a lot. The log is too big, but still we have to scroll up if you want to know what had happened. Okay, you should know what had happened. You should have a clarity of what's happening behind the hood. Okay, yep, here it is. Still it's scrolling up. Still it's scrolling up. Let me go a little bit faster. Yeah, 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 resources. Okay, yeah, it's begun. So maven package, our command. So the first one is com.imlag.app artifact, and group ID and :artifact ID. So that's what. And then building. This is the name of our package. So artifact ID version. So and jar is the one which we are building. So now it started. So it initially started with downloading from central repository. What is that central repository? repo.maven.apache.org. From there it's going to bring all the plugins that are required for our Java build. So now let me come a bit down, scroll down a bit more. So it's bringing all the plugins. uh you want to see here, you see maven surefire and maven jar, and so you can see that some of maven compiler plugin 3.8.0, maven compiler plugin 3.8.0, maven sure maven surefire, maven, and maven jar plugin 3.0.2. Oh, there are a lot. If you scroll up, you would find more. Okay, that's fine. So let's scroll down more. Let's see. So initial step, a validation is done. Now the second step is maven resources plugin. As I told you, maven resources plugin. After the validate, it will go for generate resources. That's what had happened. Generate sources had happened, and after that it's gone for the maven resources plugin. So once the maven resources plugin is done, then it will go for, I think almost it's pulling all the components which are required for that. Let me scroll down faster, a little faster, a little more faster. Then we have Maven compiler plugin. So now it got the compiler plugin. That's a 3.8.4. So whatever that we have mentioned initially. So then compilation process will start after the compiler plugin. So then once the compilation, so now you see Maven a resources plugin, compiler plugin 3.80. So and Maven Surefire plugin, all three. These are the three plugins that we are using. So they were brought into our system. So then validation compilation is done after bringing all those tests, all those plugins. Now it's time for testing. So now the test phase has started, and the plugin that we are using is JUnit, Surefire and JUnit 2.22.1.jar. This is the version that we are using. So running com.imlike.app test. This is the app test. That's the file. If you remember, this is the file we have used. We have placed it in our test directory. If you want to see, I will show you one more time. No problem at all, because whatever I do, I'm just doing for you, nothing else. Okay, I'll show you. Just remember this. I'm gonna show, or I'll show this in the slide itself. I'll take you back to the previous slide, and you see here. So in test directory, you will find app test.java. So that's what I'm talking about. So that's the test file that we have written. You have written the test case inside that, and you have named it apptest.java, and Java will go there and it will find that. Maven will go there and it will find that test file, and it will execute all the test cases that you have written inside that apptest.java. So test run one, no failures, no errors, no skipped. Absolutely fine. Now the jar plugin has comes into the picture to build a package. Now it's time for jar to come into an action and build. So it has come and it has built the jar. So and it has put it inside a directory called target. Inside the target, it has placed the jar, the package. So build success, and it has taken this much of time. Now let me do ls. ls. So let me see. You find that target directory has been created. It was not there before. So now the target directory has been created. So when you build a package, the target directory will be created, and inside that directory, the artifact will be placed. So let us get into the target directory and we'll see what's going to happen. So let us do ls. You see that your artifact is ready, the .jar. Now this artifact can be deployed anywhere in any server, such as it could be a testing server, or it could be production server, or it could be staging server. So wherever it may be, you could deploy this. You could deploy this for the further usage. It's not the final deployment. It's not the production level deployment that we say, so that user can access it and use it. No, it's not that deployment. This deployment we are talking, for example, next we will deploy it in a testing server or staging server to do more tests, in complete level of tests. Okay, that's what we call it as a deployment. So but in before we go for deployment, there are a few more phases to be done. Okay, so now what will we do is, what the next step to be executed here is to testing the jar file. Now we can test the newly compiled and packaged jar uh, with the command, that is java, and cp is the option, and what we are saying is you go to the target directory. Inside that you'll find this uh, package, and then you com dot my company dot app dot capital app. So you use that, and we will test the application. It should able to, when this is app, you see that dot app. Inside this you'll find this app, the Java app. So we want to run this, and it should produce the output. Let's see what's going to happen. Which should print the quintessential hello world. Let's see. So now I'm gonna run that test. So I would say Java and CP, then target, and we are in, okay, we are in wrong place. Let me get into the lscd. So now we have target. Yeah, here I would give the same Java CP option, or else I would have given I could give absolute path also, but I would go with the relative path. So this time, so target, you can see that target, and this is Charan app 1.0 snap.jar. This is my artifact. Now I'll com dot imlike dot app dot capital app. So this is our application. So now let's execute and see. Here it is. Hello world. That's it. This is your first application that you have created using archetype generate goal. You have created your pom.xml file, and then you have executed the package phase using mvn package, and then you have built your own package that is using maven, that is Charan app. After passing through all the phases such as validate, compile, test, and finally you have packaged, you have created you have built your artifact saying Charan app 1.0 snap.jar. Then we have tested the functionality of that app, whether it is working or not, and it has printed hello world. That's what we have written in the Java code. That's what we have written there, and you see that it's up and running, it's up and working now.